Hello, everyone. Welcome to another season of Sasa's Archeo Gaming Live. This summer, we're featuring Sasa gamer Julie Levy with special guests each week. They will be playing through the two Legend of Zelda games, Breath of the Wild, and the newest game, Tears of the Kingdom. What is SASA? SASA stands for Save Ancient Studies Alliance. It is their mission to reverse the current downward trend in the study of the ancient world by engaging the public and bringing together students and scholars to share their passion for the study of the ancient world in order to inspire a vast new generation of students. We do this in many ways, like these live streams, other live streams like book clubs and master classes. We have private reading groups going on over the summer, so RSVP at our events page. We also do research on the downward trend, have a virtual conference in July, have an open access database that is searchable, and much more. Where to find SASA? You can search Save Ancient Studies Alliance. We mainly post on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and we have a TikTok account. Archeo gaming streams are only streamed on Twitch, but will be saved on YouTube later. Some protocol for the event. Please be kind and respectful. Listen and ask thoughtful questions throughout the event. Please be patient with technology and those administering it. We try very hard to be organized, but inevitably there are some blips. These, again, live events are streamed on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and will be saved on those platforms. Archeo Gaming is only streamed on Twitch. And of course, there are spoiler alerts for these games. You can subscribe on Twitch. You can enjoy SASA's live events such as Archeo Gaming book clubs, reading groups. Please consider to support SASA with a recurring monthly donation. For as little as $3 a month, you can help us save ancient studies. You can also subscribe on Twitch for free through your Amazon account. And with that, thank you for joining us and have fun.
All right. Hello and welcome, everybody, to SASA's live Archeo Gaming streams. I'm Julie Levy, the programming coordinator for the Save Ancient Studies Alliance. And here is Dr. Kate Cook, who will introduce herself momentarily. Just so you know my background, I am a Twitch streamer, Archeo gamer, and YouTuber, and an independent scholar. I typically focus on reception in video games, and ancient Greece and linguistics, historical linguistics. You can find Ancient Save, our channels on Twitter and Instagram and just about everywhere. And you can find me at Protodactylos or at Zillable on Mastodon, on Twitch. And you can find my YouTube channel at Zilla's Athenaeum on YouTube. Kate, if you would mind introducing yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Dr. Kate Cook, as you've already said. I work on classical reception in video games, so I have been here for previous streams, and I'm delighted to be here on a slightly less classical, but in some ways more fun game. I have a particular focus on gender, so I'm particularly interested in the representation of women in kind of classical or ancient history video games, and I also, in my other life, work on gender and language in Greek tragedy.
And as you can see, today is our second stream of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which I am playing more or less blind. Kate, I think you were saying you've done a bit of exploring in.
Yeah, I've played a decent amount of it. A small chunk of the main quest, and a decent amount of just looking around for no real reason.
Just because I happen to have stopped here. Here I am outside one of our new version of shrines with this wonderful researcher who just a minor NPC that I happen to adore.
Yeah, I love these guys. They're so well equipped for like everything.
Look
They've
at all
got
the
the little hats and the
pouches
goggles. Yeah, they've got rope. They've got loads of pockets. They're so sorted for kind of field
and
work.
like
It's
those
great.
really sturdy boots.
Yeah, proper boots, gloves.
They don't have a
They're
trowel though.
ready. They might be in their little bag. They've got that little bag behind them.
Oh
They
yeah,
could have tools in there.
you might have a teeny little trowel. Something moving around in the castle. Okay. So she's investigating the shrines. Oh. I was hoping she would talk about, because the first time I talked to her, she talked about like how the shrines just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Did they come from below or above? And is it dangerous? Is it radioactive? I don't know. I thought it was very cute. What's that? Oh, that's birds. I was like, ooh, is that another Korok? No. So,
Have you been into the castle yet? Or?
no, this is as far as I've gotten. Like, I really just came down from Sky Island, went into there's like a little town that Pura is running, and
Yeah.
she sent me this direction, and I've done the one shrine.
Okay, great.
That's it. So I love some of the characters persist from the previous game. Like this guy, he was one of the people that you have a side quest to save. There's like, save Sesame's 4 friends from the Bokoblins. They're all named after other things you can make oil out of. So here you have Olive.
Yeah, I don't. The problem is, I played Breath of the Wild so long ago that in some ways I have the kind of experience that sort of imagine Link might be having, because he's been asleep for an unspecified amount of time and doesn't really know what's going on. I also don't really know what's going on, and these people keep saying, "Hi, Link," and I'm like, well, who are you again? I don't remember, but I guess you know who I am.
Yeah, it would be
A
really
couple of them
funny
I remember.
playing this game not having played Breath of the Wild. Like, not that...
To be honest, I really couldn't remember almost what had happened in Breath of the Wild. Like, I sort of remembered, okay, we had to defeat Ganon, because you always have to do that.
Right.
But other than that, I couldn't really remember quite a lot of it until I started playing this, and then fortunately there were enough little reminders that, your kind of personal history is told back to you a couple of times. You can go through those gates.
Can you? I got up to them.
You
And
just
didn't give me
open
any
them. Use your little hand thing. Just use your hand things for
I
gates.
just used the hand thing.
Yeah.
I'm not used to the new powers.
The power that makes you move stuff that's really heavy, you can use that on gates.
Who knew? Who would have thought?
Well, what's really frustrating is there's actually only some gates, and I haven't really worked out. I mean, it must be like one's made of metal or something, but I haven't really worked out what the criteria is. I just always try, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and I'm just standing there failing to open a gate.
But it's just so weird being back at these gates after... So I just replayed Breath of the Wild last month. And so, like, this was, this is the last area you come to because it's so dangerous. And, like, this whole area is covered in that, like, malice goo. And there are monsters and guardians everywhere. And there are Lionels in the gatehouses. And now you're just like, oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got this weird gloom nonsense floating in the air that you probably shouldn't,
Yeah, it is. This red stuff is not good.
Oh. Oh.
We were talking right before stream about... So this is my favorite Zelda because she's such a nerd. So where does this Zelda fit in your study of female characters in games?
Yeah, I mean, I'd said so. It's a difficult question because I haven't finished, and there's something weird going on with this Zelda in this game. I've got far enough to work out that, and anyone who's played more who might be in the chat, don't spoil me. Like, I know something weird is going on because I've done a couple of missions where it's clear that something strange is happening, but I don't know what that strange thing is. And depending on what that strange thing is going to depend how I judge her. I found Breath of the Wild Zelda frustrating, actually, because there was a lot of emphasis on how she kind of effectively wasn't good enough, and people try and make the case that, oh, but she's really strong, she holds Ganon, but the game spends a lot of time telling you she's a bit crap and she's likely to be a bit, she's always worried about her powers, and I found that a bit disappointing. And given that nearly always in these games you just have to go off and you have to find and then save Zelda, like, that's kind of Zelda as effectively damsel in distress, or kind of quest object. You have to pursue and fetch Zelda from whatever situation she's in a lot of these, and I didn't feel like Breath of the Wild did enough to get away from that. This game might be, but it is going to depend a little bit on how this weirdness kind of resolves itself, I think.
Oh.
I do like that this Zelda has got that special interest, that thing about archaeology at the beginning, where, this is just a thing which she as an individual is clearly really interested in. It's not, in a way that, her powers in the last one were something that people kept trying to tell her to do, rather than something that you got the impression she had any real kind of personal desire to pursue. In the start of this, I did like that Zelda is just dragging you down into this basement because she wants to, rather than because someone has told her she has to.
Yeah,
Appreciated that.
I spent a lot of time in the first game being very upset at King Rome, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that Zelda was always good enough. It was clear to me, anyway.
And clear to Link, I think.
Yeah, and you get little snippets like of what's her name? Urbosa, the best one. Who knew Zelda's mother, saying, you in particular make her feel like a failure, so your memories are going to be of her reacting poorly to things. And I do wish that the game had done more about sort of giving her back that agency. But I can also see why in a story way they sort of wanted it to be a curveball. But I'm very excited that we have a Zelda who is a nerd. We have a Zelda who's a scientist, an archaeologist, who wants to poke it with a stick and knows a lot about history and has read all of the weird old books that nobody knows anything about.
And wants to talk about them as well.
Yes.
In the beginning part, when she's just like talking and talking and talking. I mean, having Link in a scene is always like someone else is talking and Link is just kind of nodding, because Link never says anything. Or, I mean, in theory he says stuff. He spreads his hands and we assume something is being said. But since we never actually experience that, it's just, people talking at Link. But Zelda really talks a lot about what she's excited about. And that's, I also enjoyed that. There you go. Look at his fantastic helmet.
Yeah, this is actually another character from the first game. He's the one who's, obsessed with Kilton and the Fang and Bone, and he's like, you must show me an image of this suspicious creature. And he, clearly wants to go and investigate the store.
I am alive.
Speaking of Link spreading his arms but not having any idea what he said, they all have to say it back to you.
Yeah, what do you mean you're alone?
But yeah, I really like his helmet. I like that his helmet hasn't apparently decayed like all the rest of the weapons.
Yeah. That is a little bit weird, because...
fantastic plume.
Yeah. But that's true of, all your armor. Your armor never decays, but weapons do, and they... So far, no one has explained to me why that should be true.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand from, a game design point of view why that makes sense. But
yeah, same.
From a world point of view, it's a little bit inadequate.
Yes. Given that you put all this effort into now explaining the kind of destruction of your weapons, because they had like your weapons falling apart annoyingly in the last game as well. So it's fine. We already appreciated that that was a game mechanic, but they put all this effort into making an explanation for the weapons in this one, but then they never explain why does your armor not also decay. Hey, look, here she is.
Here she is wearing this very clearly modeled after like Rauru's armor.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about this when we got to see a whole bunch of Rauru's ghost, and like that front panel with the Triforce at the bottom. And she was still wearing it on her more modern clothing, but this looks, I don't know, ceremonial or antique in some way. Kind of like the weird ancient tunic you're wearing at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's meant to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know because, as I say, there's something weird going on, as you'll see in a moment, but it's not clear what that weird thing is. But
No idea.
I think this is meant to be kind of like old, like matching the old clothes. Bam. Bye. Good question.
Okay.
I hope they have a good explanation for this,
I mean,
because
presumably.
this kind of ties in. This ties into like the role of Zelda, because from a game dynamic it works. If she keeps disappearing, you can't find her, therefore you've got something to do in this game, right? Which is pursue and find Zelda.
Yeah.
But it's annoying if she's just doing it to be annoying.
keep-
You know, like I want there to be a
Forgetting
kind
I
of
have the paraglider.
yeah.
Ooh, somebody is saying something else. Let's go find out what's incredible. Tell me. I mean, there's a lot of incredible things here. Which one is it?
What?
Well, this guy's got quite a name.
Push him in.
Can't pick him up.
No.
It does look very
No, you could never push the people up. That would cause way too much chaos.
I keep forgetting I don't have a paraglider. Which is unfortunate for Link. Oh, I've gone the wrong way again. Because I can't jump off this, or he'll die.
No. Go down the path.
It is kind of an interestingly constructed castle now that you actually like get to look at it for any length of time. Like this very bare rock sort of entrance. Very fortified.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think it was supposed to be flatter, though, right? And some of this is because of the thing where part of it has like gone upwards.
Not this bit though. Like this was here in the first game. And it makes a lot of, you know, sort of sense as you're walking around, and like this was a waterfall. So it didn't feel quite so disconnected because you could just swim up that.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
But like all of these gates in the bottom were here before, and it's just the middle castle bit that's been elevated.
Well, I mean, it's fair enough. Hyrule Castle is always in trouble, whatever Hyrule you're in.
Yeah, like Wind Waker's castle at the bottom of the sea, particularly interesting.
Ta-da!
Just like you said. Who would have thought? So speaking of interesting female characters, what do you make of Pura?
Yeah. I confess, again, because I couldn't really remember Breath of the Wild, I had a lot of trouble trying to remember. Like, I remembered there was a kind of annoying scientist, and that there was this sort of older woman, and I couldn't quite remember who they were, and I couldn't recognize Pura. Like, I couldn't really work out how she fit into that memory. So it took me quite a long time to work out what was going on in that. I mean, I think she's interesting. I like that, like, she knows a lot and everyone knows she knows a lot, and she doesn't have to kind of struggle for the respect and so on that she deserves. I enjoy that. She's pretty cool. I mean, all of the characters in these games are kind of weird, right?
Yeah. Now there's an interesting idea. It's a neurodivergent lens on characters. Like Zelda with her special interests, Pura with her tics. Link with his nonverbal communications.
Yeah. I mean, I think Link is meant to be speaking.
Yeah.
We never get to hear what he says. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, some of it, I think, is it's because of the world building, right? Like, when they first started off with these games, the characters were just kind of weird because everything was quite weird. And now they've moved to these kind of slightly more, in some ways, more realistic worlds, but they've kept the oddities because it wouldn't feel like Zelda if it wasn't a little bit odd.
But I also.
But it does mean there's much.
interesting
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just thinking it's so interesting that they have decided to have Pura as, essentially a young adult, maybe just a teenager, it's kind of hard to tell, when she was so very clearly, like, 6 in the previous game. She was very much a child. And either way, like, she's actually older than Link by several decades. But you have her in this, like, hot presentation. The fact that, like, it's just, it strikes me as, you have this great, wise, weird scientist who is, she's got some very girly things going on about her. She's, like, meant to be attractive. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Japanese pigeon toe thing.
Yeah.
For anybody watching, a lot of Japanese female characters who are meant to be, like, extra cutesy will have their toes sort of pointed towards each other. You can see that's what she's doing here. In her little high heel getas, which are disturbing, just, my goodness. But, like, she's just such an odd figure. And then you have the hot archaeologist chick, which is Zelda. Like, that's such an odd presentation of knowledge.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's interesting. It has some problematic aspects, but I think it's interesting that it's also not consistent, because they also lean quite heavily and have leaned quite heavily into the sort of older wise woman figure in kind of both of these games as well. You have the kind of village elder, or indeed Pura herself before she, like, turned herself into a child, is a kind of older woman, and there's kind of quite a lot of sort of village elder presentations, and also quite a lot of child presentations in these games, and sometimes the children know more or, like, do more things that are right than they kind of should effectively. So I like that there's the variety. I wonder if there's a kind of weird thing going on with fashion in this game. Like, everyone is suddenly much more interested in fashion, and one of the places has become super fashionable, and people, like, talk about fashion. in a way which they didn't in the last game. This is like a cultural shift that's happened, and I sort of wonder where that came from and whether that has any effect on some of these characters.
I mean, certainly Pura's got a look all her own here.
Yeah, but that, you know, it looks like a deliberate outfit, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It doesn't
it
look like a
does.
woman who's kind of just like.
No, like this is very stylized and stylish. Like
And
the-
Zelda the same, even in that weird antique outfit. It's, you know.
Whereas, you know, you look at the Sheikah girl, Josha, and like that's what everybody in the Sheikah village looked like, despite it
Yeah.
having a high fashion store.
Oh, this I found annoying. The way she always calls you Linky is really irritating.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's very much like a cutesy quirk that doesn't sit right because she's 130 and in a 16-year-old body.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah. Check it. Woohoo!
I love that she has an apprentice, though.
I like that she's got her proper title. You know,
Yes.
she's doctor, she's...
Oh.
Okay, so we've been acknowledged as like maybe you don't know who I am, but we all know who you are. That's fair.
Yeah.
Ah. You.
I think it's kind of weird that they have this emergency shelter. Like, I've never really worked out...
Huh. That's fascinating. Like, that's... oh, they have a little ladder that rises up. Interesting.
Yeah, so originally it's explained that it's an emergency shelter, like... Oh yeah, he's going to say it right now. For the royal family, so now they kind of stay in it. But what has never been very clear to me is... why do they need an emergency shelter, but they've also built this kind of temporary town just on the outside in the open around it? Either you need you need to be in the emergency shelter, or you could just be out in the open. You don't really need both, surely.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Ah.
I can't imagine, like, since this was already here and the sky was quite literally falling, that maybe they started inside here and then built out once it was clear that the things falling had more or less ceased.
Yeah, probably.
Ah.
I think it's interesting, like, that. So the time that you've been
Ah.
unavailable is never really made clear. It seems like it's been a few years based on some other things, or at least the gap between games has been a few
Yeah, the
years.
gap
How
between
long you've
games
been
has
away?
definitely been several
is-
years. But oh boy. This is very interesting, actually. Just like thinking about emergency shelters for the royal family, it doesn't appear to have a connection to the castle itself, which is what you would expect. Like a tunnel that you could seal off.
Well, how do you feel about spoilers?
I'm guessing there is one then?
Yeah, sorry. There is one which will be so. So one of the things that's quite good actually about this game is it unfolds much better than Breath of the Wild did. So like stuff becomes more apparent and areas become more open the further you progress through. And one of the things is the connection between this place and the castle will become apparent when you're kind of at a level that you can deal with it, basically. So a little way into the game, it'll turn out that this is connected to the castle. And then you can use that connection.
So I think Garini was actually the guy in the first game who was examining that that ancient relic that you have to like find the pieces of to get the message of how to open a shrine. Like there was like a glowing stone with script. So that's pretty cool. And other people have maps now. That's good.
Yeah, people have maps and they like find stuff out, and yeah. Life has moved on a lot. This map is quite cute, though. Look at it.
It's very cute.
Like,
and seemingly somewhat incorrect if the geography has not changed since the last game, but I guess it has.
well, so I think the annotations is like where weird stuff is happening, right? So the volcano is
not what's it called? Death Mountain, because it's way off to the side.
Yeah, I think it's meant to represent the kind of the problem with Death Mountain, effectively. So I think all the red stuff is stuff that's like gone wrong.
Interesting.
Which it turns out quite a lot of life has.
Yeah.
Which is why it must be like you must have been out of action for some time, because it's been enough time for quite a lot of things to have gone wrong and people to have had to adapt to them.
Yes. And like several organizations have clearly sprung up. Like there's a whole guard that has formed, and the scientists have gotten collected together and sent out on specific missions and
Yeah, exactly. But no one ever tells. I do think it's quite interesting the way that like the time works in this, because no one ever tells you like how long has it been, or asks if you know how long it's been, or anything. Like there's just kind of left sort of vague. Yeah, so the assumption sort of is that it doesn't really matter how long it's been, but you would have thought that's quite useful. I mean, I would have thought that's quite useful information, but they leave it kind of vague, so you're living in this kind of strange, like, after time, but how much after? Well, that doesn't matter.
So this is something I was actually speculating about in the last game, of whether or not the Sheikah were considered Hylian. Apparently they are. Because they do seem to be, they have like, there's Sheikah and the people from Lurelin, you know, they have different characteristics in a way that we might call race. But, like, clearly they still are more human than, or elven, or Hylian, whatever you want to call it, than, like, a Rito.
Yeah.
But then we also know that you can get Hylians marrying Zora, and that's not weird, even though they have vastly different lifespans, which sounds kind of hard to deal with. So like, the Sheikah seem to live longer. Maybe that's just our particular researchers. Although Impo's also over 100.
Yeah.
Oh.
Get a tour of the map. Excellent. I like it. This is all stuff that in the first game you just had to bonk your head into. Or build from the ground up.
Yeah, I think they had a bit of a kind of interesting challenge with this one, because it had to make sense for people who hadn't played the first game, but at the same time, if you have played the first game, you don't want like a really detailed explanation of what Zora's domain is. So they kind of go for sort of some information. So if you haven't played it, you can catch up quite quickly, but not too much information.
Oh.
What is your job apart from staring at the map?
I think staring at the map is his job. Ah.
Ah.
Wait, it's a blood moon already? I've killed enough things that there's a blood moon?
Oh, this is so annoying. I hate the blood moon. Although I like that the theme music has changed.
Interesting. What do I want to get rid of? I'm just gonna let the blood moon happen so I can see what they change. Usually I'll skip through these.
Yeah, I do now, but it's worth the first time.
The blood moons rise. When its red glow shines upon the land, the aimless spirits of slain monsters return to flesh. Just as they did in a war long past. The world is threatened once again.
The tone of Zelda's introduction there has changed quite a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I think that's really, like, I mean, change the music, fair enough, that's just a kind of variety thing, but the fact that we get this kind of weird, new, and also less personal Zelda is kind of interesting. Like, that's sort of one of many things that make you think something strange is happening here,
Yeah.
I think.
Ah.
Okay, so he's working on a helmet. Talking about the weapon decay.
Ah. Ah. Ah.
Yeah.
Hey look, somebody with a quest! They put me in charge of cooking for some reason. The best reason to be in charge of the cooking, I guess.
Someone's gotta do it.
I guess I have an apple on me.
I think it's really weird the way they can just smell the stuff you're carrying. They could all do it, and they nearly always say they can smell it. And I'm like, why could you smell what's in my bag?
Like,
That's
the
weird.
acrid tang of flint. Like,
Yeah. Why can you smell it? It looks fine.
Oh.
He's got a nice cap. It's got a compass rose on it. And there's like a full-on newspaper now.
Yes.
It's not just we've progressed from single issue gossip books to full-on newsprint that looks mass market.
Yeah. So this Lucky Clover Gazette can like spawn a whole set of things you can do. Basically, it's definitely like a new arrival in the world.
And like he's able to say, "Oh, I guess this one's a little old," which means that they're coming out, pretty often for some amount of pretty often.
Yeah, and getting across the world quite quickly as well, given that everyone else is in like upheaval and there's monsters and stuff. Nonetheless, this newspaper spreads pretty fast.
You almost expect to see that messenger guy from Twilight Princess just running around the monster-filled world with a little flag on his back.
Yeah, bringing the news to the people.
Grouse. Bird puns. Oh, look, a search poster. Milk carton. Missing persons thing. Those are pretty good.
That's
Pretty
you.
good drawings.
Yeah.
I like how
The one
Link's
of
face
Zelda.
is so much smaller than Zelda's.
I know, the one of Zelda is much better than the one of Link. Link is very difficult to identify from that picture, whereas Zelda is like very definitely Zelda.
Wordsworth. Wow.
I like how Link is just mimicking how he stands there for a minute.
Ancient Hyrulean. I've heard a lot about this. I'm actually very excited to see this. Last week, Adam from Ludo History was giving me a sample of what's to come here. I don't know if you've played around with this at all, but they're apparently in, like, pretty decent Old English.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I mean, one of the things I think is really interesting about it is they like, you know, they've made this ancient Hyrulean and then they've made it so that Link can't read it. So you have to go and read like other people's translations and things. Like it's not, you know, which is good and interesting. It's quite rare that you get kind of old languages and you don't get to be an expert in it in a lot of games.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about Forgotten City and Latin, for example,
Oh, indeed. They
you know,
just
if
don't
you play
like
as the
that.
archaeologist, you always know it. But
Yeah.
if you don't, even if you don't play as the archaeologist, you like get the translation basically immediately, because the idea that there would be this language for a whole game that you can't follow for many games is a bit of an anathema. But they don't seem to have worried about that in this at all. It's just, you know,
Yeah,
of course you can't follow it, because why would Link be an expert in ancient Hyrulean? Like,
right. And like you were saying before, like is very much like, you know, Zelda is the one who is the nerd who's got this interest in the ancient world and the ruins and ancient languages. And she's just prattling on to Link, who's just standing there kind of like, sure.
yeah, exactly. And it's the same with all these researchers. Like, they tell him stuff, but you never get any impression that he, like, really is... I mean, he, you know, he's as interested as you are, I guess, in some ways, but he never, like, goes away to try and learn the language or anything. He's just like, whatever. Okay, these guys can read it.
Wait, Josha, the kid is the leader of the chasm surveys? Whoa.
Yeah. So
Oh.
Josha is also doing a whole research project of her own, and I cannot work out, like, what is her age and status.
The deep history. It reminds me of The Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe. They have like the deep history of the world between worlds and the creation story. Which
Yeah.
like if you actually go and read The Magician's Nephew, where you get to see a lot of that stuff, is probably the least Christian thing about the whole series, and therefore my favorite.
Yeah, I always liked all that really weird stuff in The Magician's Nephew.
Yeah, the thing with the rings and the pools.
Yeah, the many funny worlds and like how you move between them.
Yeah.
All of that was pretty cool.
Now I want to talk to Tauro. right, I need to head to Kakariko.
Yes, yeah. If you want to go and see some kind of, archaeology in action, Kakariko is at the moment the main place to go and look at that.
Yeah, so you see what Jaren is wearing. Like, that is the most sort of fashionable that the Sheikah were wearing in the previous game. But but now we have like Pura's crazy thing, and
Yeah, and there is this whole like high fashion development, which as you go out in the world, you'll see like some people have bought clothes
yeah,
from that design.
I
Like,
found
oh, okay.
I found somebody wearing mushroom outfits, and I was
Yeah.
like, why mushrooms? But okay.
That is a new trend. That's like
Apparently.
couture now in Hyrule.
This statement just seems very unsafe to me.
Poor Jaren.
Any face I know is the face of a friend. Oh boy. That's one of those things that I just kind of constantly wonder. Is like, where does all the dust come from? Why is my room always so dusty? I know that the answer is because I have a crap ton of books, but nobody knows what. Yellow plant stuff.
Ah. Oh.
I wonder if that's the bright blooms. That would make sense.
Ah.
No comment.
Oh.
I think this is quite interesting as well. Like, I mean, so the chasm investigation will turn out to be also a kind of archaeology, but there's a real presentation of like a lot of this research as being dangerous. So Zelda's like archaeology weirdness turned out to be really dangerous for her and Link. And all of this research they're doing into the chasms is really dangerous. And if you go over to the village, you'll see that some of the potential research there is very dangerous. Like there's a little bit of the kind of, it's not quite like you go into tombs and there are traps and mummies and stuff, but there is a kind of association that you should seek archaeology because it's worth doing. I mean, for a lot of these people, it's worth doing because Zelda told them to do it. But nonetheless, Zelda thinks it's important, and so the game presents it as important and valuable. But it's also kind of risky, which I think is quite interesting.
Yeah. I don't particularly associate archaeological digs in the real world with risk, I have to say. Which is not, 100% no, because I think I was telling somebody recently, the one and only dig I've ever been on, because I'm a texts person, not a dirt person. I love the dirt, but not that much. So the one dig I've ever been on is I got to go work on Santorini for a summer in Akrotiri.
Nice.
And it was either the last summer or the summer before last, before the big collapse on that site. Like the whole ceiling fell in. And we're just lucky that nobody was killed. But it crushed a number of very delicate things and set us back quite a few years in our progress of uncovering stuff. And so, like, in a sense, like, it is dangerous work in the sense that, we have to balance preserving the material versus preserving ourselves. Because the reason that site was designed the way it was trying to preserve both the landscape on top, which was somebody's field, somebody's wine vineyard, and giving people the space to enter the ancient city and work.
Sure.
So, like, that happen, but that's exceptional. Like that's almost never the real story. It's
Yeah.
mostly just
I mean, I guess.
digging holes in the dirt. No, sorry, go
Yeah, I guess the problem for the Hyruleans is what they're really doing is kind of like almost conflict archaeology, right? They're doing kind of archaeology in a place which has effectively become a war zone. So that obviously can be extremely dangerous. That they're looking at recovering and preserving knowledge in a world that is falling apart. So, but it's in some ways it's quite it's a choice to make that the sort of knowledge they're seeking, right? It could have been that the archaeology is kind of separate and it's just tucked away in the safe places, but the designers here have chosen to make the archaeology kind of intrinsic to understanding this disaster rather than something that runs alongside it. These are pretty cool. Technology has really jumped on in the time since Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild.
Looks like they've re-engineered the ancient tech
Yeah.
to their own devices.
Yeah. But really quickly.
Yeah, it's been what, at most a decade? Probably not even that, really.
I think based on another character, most people on the internet, so this is not my own working, but think it's about 6 or 7 years.
So I guess this effectively replaces the Sheikah Tower system from the last game, although these are also
Yes.
Sheikah built. Is she about to give me my paraglider back? Please give me my paraglider back.
What I don't really understand, I mean, you have to do it because it's part of the gameplay, right? But why can't we just use the map we already, explored from the last time?
Yeah, why don't I have my own
What
Sheikah
happens
slate
to
with
that
all the
map?
stuff on it?
Exactly.
What
What
happened
happened to that map? I already mapped the whole of this land. Why can't I just use that? I mean, even you could go around updating it, but no, you have to go and discover a whole new map.
Yay.
Ta-da!
I want to know why she carries a flute. I'm assuming that'll come up at some point.
I don't know. I don't remember her ever using it for anything except pointing at you.
That's very clearly a flute, right? Or at most, it's a recorder.
It looks like a recorder.
It's not.
I have no
it's
idea
not
what
just
it's
a
for.
pointer. It's hollow.
Yeah. No idea.
It's got holes. Definitely an instrument. It's definitely Sheikah made. You can see the little eye mark. Now, updating your old map with new data, that I understand, but why don't we have the old map to begin with?
Yep, that would be nice. We have had an answer. I mean, yeah, obviously this is, it's a gameplay feature, right? But I just don't need it. I don't, it would be totally fine to explore while already having some kind of rudimentary map. We all know this is the second one, right? We didn't really need to start completely from scratch. This is quite fun, though. I enjoy this part.
That's very silly.
Whee!
It would be really fun to I would love to do stuff like this and have no fear of
Quite
falling.
terrifying. A couple of times I got my like dive and paraglide buttons the wrong way around, and I have
Oh,
just
yeah.
dived head first into the rock, like from the sky. Or like I've been aiming for a pond or something, and I've just missed so badly, and I've just like crushed him into the rock. I'm like, whoa, whoops. Sorry, Link.
Yeah, you're right, Max. Like, it's very clear that this was, you know, the same old game start loop where they remove all your items and give it back to you again. But they, you know, they managed an interesting reason for that, for the hearts and the stamina, that makes total sense. They could totally have managed that for the rest of the things if they decided it was worth it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the explanation, like the fact that you've sort of lost your... Whoa, be careful. The explanation that you've kind of lost your vitality works for me for the other stuff, but I just like,
but
you know,
like, why is the map wiped? Why?
yeah.
why can't I have
use
the
the map?
bombs? Where are my bombs? Dang it!
Oh yeah, well those don't exist anymore.
Clearly.
You did that much better than me. When I came back down from that tower, I landed like miles away because I went really diagonal, and I had to like come all the way back here to finish this conversation. I didn't just go down straight. I went somewhere terrible.
just fall into a chasm.
Yeah, not far off to be honest. Let's take a look at your map. We haven't got any map.
Well, we've got the middle
See?
of the map,
No map.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna put these dots on this map you can't have. So and also, you know, she knows where these places are. Why can't she fill out the map?
The strange phenomena are located in the same 4 regions, occupied by the same 4 people. Who knew?
Yeah, I didn't mind that much. I just like, you know, given that is true, and given those are all places we went before, why can't we just have a map to remind us how to get there?
I do know that people have started this game without having played the previous one, but, like...
Fine, but would they be really upset if there was a map already there?
Yeah, like, I don't think
Do you
so.
think?
Like, I think just, like, a landscape map that doesn't have any new data on it,
Yeah.
and then you have to update it.
And maybe
I think
you
that
could
would've been
still
much
fill it
more
in.
fun.
Like, yeah. Someone saw Princess Zelda. Okay. Yeah, here we go. The newspaper is looking for Zelda as well.
Yeah.
You have a quest for me. Tell me what it is. Goggles. Okay.
She's just gonna go downstairs. You can just follow her and pick it up.
Woohoo!
You can jump off stuff now. You've got your paraglider. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Oh.
One thing that's really interesting about this shelter is this mechanism here is actually really close to mechanisms that I don't know for sure that they exist, but they're definitely like talked about in medieval stuff. Like the sort of ladder, usually they incorporate a stairway down, but the way that the whole panel just slides to the side, like I've seen that a number of times in specifically Western medieval stuff. So who's Goggles? I don't remember Goggles.
Oh, sorry, not this far downstairs, just on the ground floor
Oh.
downstairs.
I see.
You do not have to use the ladder, by the way. When he said, wouldn't it be good if you could just go through the ceiling?
Oh, yeah.
Remember, you are someone
I
who can
actually
just
can.
go through the ceiling.
Okay, where did you go then? I don't have enough money for stuff yet. There we are. Oh, Goggles means Robbie.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Speaking of weirdos,
I know.
the shield is nuts. Yeah, I kind of love it, don't you? Just this big spiky shield.
Yes, it is true. Okay. Look at this guy trying to steal his female colleague's work.
And he did that in the first game too. Like he
Yeah.
kept sort of dissing Pura's work,
Yeah.
calling her crazy. He's the one who's like rocking out. He
Yeah,
reminds me
and
of
Mark.
the guy from Back to the Future.
Yeah. I assume that must be like a deliberate design
Yeah.
choice, right? I mean, he's so close to him.
Right. But also just with the like just the sort of wild attitude of let's do things 'cause it's cool. I like this kid. She reminds me of me.
Well, I hope not, you know, completely.
No.
Seems like a dangerous
I was
approach.
not an extremely reckless child. I was just very studious and very frustrated with people telling me I couldn't do stuff.
Yeah. I mean, this is interesting though, right? Because we've just read that she's in charge of the Chasm teams. But at the same time, she doesn't seem to have very much control over her own work.
Yeah. And I guess she's got her own quirk of never calling people by their names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's an interesting figure.
It is.
Tell me your theory. Evidence that people lived in the depths? Are we gonna get dwarves? I want dwarves.
I mean, it is quite dangerous. No, he won't.
Who won't? Robbie? Of course he won't.
Yeah, he's always like, oh, I'll go do this job, but actually what I'm going to do is go down there and make Link do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does seem... He seems very academic in that way, doesn't he? The old white man with tenure problem.
Yeah. Could be worse. He could have sent Joshua down there.
Yeah.
I'm glad he at least has that much sense. He's also married to somebody less than half his age, so... Old white man with tenure.
Is he? Who's he married to?
Jaren.
Oh! I have no memory of that at all.
Yeah. He's married to Jaren, and, like, they actually say something about it, how he's, like, 140 and she's, like, 40. And...
Oh, that's weird.
And they have a son who's an adult, and it's like, oh, you really are creepy old academic, aren't you? You married one of your students, didn't you?
Oh, no, I hope not. Was she one of his students?
That much I don't...
If she was...
That much
If
I
she
don't
was one of his students and he's now got her just like sweeping in the emergency shelter, that would be disgraceful.
Okay, where does it... Oh, this is a cute feature.
Yeah, these I liked these actually because
Yeah.
I couldn't remember who all these people were, so it was really useful to be able to just check.
And it does look like it was, Oh, and they gave us Baby Pura, too. How she did in the last game. With her little Lolita dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and they give us both looks for Zelda, too. That's nice. Robbie never changes, though. He's just a gross little academic guy.
Yeah, well, why would he want to change?
They never do. They never do. I was looking for the map, though. Okay, so it wants me to go south. It's not that far south.
Yeah, the red splotches are, you know, chasms you can go and jump in.
Exciting.
I guess. It depends how much you like, you know, being underground in the dark in an evil chasm.
I'm Link. I love it. It's the plan.
You could entirely avoid the chasms, go and collect a horse, and, you know, just ride around in the grass having fun. That could be the plan too. No comment.
But that tower is so close, I should just go get it, right? Oh, and there are horses there. That would help.
Whee!
I don't have my sneaky suit. I want my sneaky suit back.
Yeah, I think it's quite annoying actually, the other stuff you used to own. Like, where's it gone? Who took it all?
I want my house and my horses and my gear and my shiny
Your
old weapons.
horses you can have back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
If you go and check in a stable, they like re-register your profile and all your horses come back.
Oh, that's great. No,
Yeah, it's the
run.
best thing. So I'm not just riding around on any old horse, I'm riding around on, you know, my horse, which is the best.
Well, okay. I guess I need to find a stable then. No
You
sense.
can have one of these random horses instead, you know, you don't have to have your old horses, but...
But I like my horses.
yeah, okay. I like how we were going to go in a chasm and now I'm like, no, instead go and collect your horses! It's not very archaeological.
It's nice that despite the technological advances and the quite literal upheaval, there's so much untouched land. Whoa! I'm sorry, what?
Oh yeah, sometimes the trees attack you now. Unfamiliar monsters.
This is so exciting. Huh, you can just pick those up now. Alright, well that's better than half the stuff I have. Wow, that was exciting. Like talking about how untouched the landscape is, and then suddenly...
Yeah, sometimes it fights back. It's really annoying when you're like on a road or something and then the nearby wood starts attacking you. And the rest of the time I think it's quite fun, but I'm not a fan when you're just trying to get somewhere.
Wait, so do I have access to the camera now?
Yes. In your thing.
Not that thing. That thing. No?
Might be that you have to go into the chasm to use it.
Alright. Okay. I guess I can do plot. That's one of the things that I just get a little bit obsessive about. Is I always have to fill out the camera. Fill out the compendium.
Oh, I don't care about that at all. Like, sometimes I photograph stuff, you know, just because I feel like it, but most of the time I haven't touched that in the slightest.
It's just kind of fun taking photographs of everything, trying to get good ones. I got a picture of a Lionel last time in Breath of the Wild that was just like, it was mid-attack coming down on me as I had the camera out, and it was so good.
All of my, you know, they give you these quests where they're like, go and, you know, take a photo of X, and I think there were some take a photo of a monster or whatever. All of mine of those are like, you know, its tail on the very edge of the screen. I'm as far away and as it's as shit a photo as I can get away with, basically. Yeah.
Horse time.
Oh. Ho ho.
It's supposed to be here.
Ho. Ho ho.
Okay.
You can't take the horse in the chasm, or, you know,
That's
you
probably
shouldn't.
just as well.
You shouldn't take the horse in the chasm, maybe.
Oh.
I discourage taking the horse in the chasm.
Hmm?
Hey look, here's another guy you can push in a chasm.
Oh?
There's somebody down there? Doesn't look like there's somebody down there.
Are you not going to go down?
I will. But there were people over here.
Hmm?
True.
Oh. Ah.
Sweet.
Oh!
He has, like, actual glasses. Like, not Pora's weird frames. But, like,
Yeah.
normal glasses. Okay, let's go into the chasm.
Jump into the darkness. Or collect a horse and ride somewhere nicer. Oh my god.
What's that?
Don't touch the sides.
Wow. But are these mushroom spores? Fascinating.
I have no idea. It's weird down here.
It is weird down here. Hello.
Ah.
The depths.
Ah.
This guy's got glasses too.
He does.
Oh.
Great idea, Robbie.
Yeah.
Nothing will hurt me. I'm an academic.
Just I'm an academic running around in the pitch black. Like, what is he doing? He can't even see anything down here. I don't remember. Yeah, okay.
Oh.
Mushroom trees. Fern trees.
They kind of look like they got peacock feathers on them.
Yeah, like I really like these ones. They look like
Yeah.
giant ferns, but this one, I don't know. Like it maybe it's a kind of grass, like a palm tree.
No idea. They're just
Ooh,
everything down here
shiny
is just
insects.
strange.
Oh, these look so much like those insects from Skyward Sword when you go in the Tempest.
Hmm. When I first came down here, I thought they were fairies, and I was really excited, and then I realised they were not.
I like them. This looks shiny. Huh, possibly more literally than I expected.
These are pretty cool. So these are like connected to the shrines above. They're like the roots of the shrines, which is kind of cool because it makes the shrines seem more organic somehow.
Yeah.
And it kind of pulls all the lands. It pulls, you know, because you've got the kind of sky world and the world, and now the depths world. It kind of connects them all together, having these like contact points between them. So I quite liked that.
That's very cool. And now
And
I
now you
can
can see.
teleport into the depths. And also see. They really are like peacock feathers. Huh. That's so interesting.
They bring real light down, so if you need some real light because you got gloomed, that's why they produce all these plants.
So, something that I was observing last week was these ripple patterns that are very. They look very much like a Japanese Zen garden style, but they're also always in these like circular ripples in the same way that like water droplets ripple when you fall in a pond and it kind of rains above you. This seems to be a very key feature of Zonai design.
Yeah, which is quite interesting because, I mean, there's no reason why it should be, but like a lot of kind of representations of sort of old stuff go for the kind of very geometric pattern, don't they? It's like a way of producing. But they've gone, you know, almost the opposite. Like all of this kind of really curvy, round stuff is
Very
quite
organic.
a different. Yeah.
So there's a note on the table that starts, "Hey you." It's
Yeah.
very Robbie. It's very
Yeah.
dissertation advisor.
Yeah.
Alright. Yes. Yes, you absolute nincompoop.
Yeah, but he's just gonna run around in the dark anyway. Whatever.
Oh boy. I take it I should not touch that stuff. That looks like
Do not touch that
Gloom
stuff.
made manifest.
Oh, well, you could touch it to see what happens if you want, because you're right by the gloom, the light route, so then you can, you know.
Hey you. I wonder if that's ever gonna get old. wonder what exactly his goggles do. Can I steal them?
Yeah, I have no idea. I suspect that he uses the same tech that he puts on your like Pura pad on his goggles or something, because he seems to use them to like identify and record stuff, and that's the technology he gives you. But I have no idea.
Ooh, bombs. Excellent. Uh-oh. Something coming at me? Thought I heard
Remember, you
something.
can use your bright bloom seeds to light up the darkness. Like, throw them into a dark bit, and then you can see where you're going. Strongly advised not just walking around in the dark down here.
Yeah.
That also is from experience.
Yeah.
Whee! More bomb flowers. Huzzah.
What I haven't worked out yet, and like we're not going to get to it in today's stream, but you know there is stuff down here. So when Josh was like, "Oh, maybe people lived here," you know,
Oh no.
perhaps people lived here. I don't really know, but like, did they live here in all this like darkness, or did it used to be light, or like what is the situation of all of this? Like, presumably it didn't all used to be full of gloom, but it's very dark.
It is very dark. Oh, those are monsters. Let's not right now, especially because I want to let you go soon. But let's try and catch
Yeah.
up with Robbie. I guess that'll be more monster
always-
camps over there.
I'm always really nervous when the game saves.
Ooh, what is that?
That's a monster.
I mean, clearly it's a monster. It's covered in gloom. But there weren't any flap monsters in the previous game.
No, these guys are on the surface as well. They're really annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Wow.
Not know you were there. That's not the button that I wanted.
Wow. Hope you're enjoying my contribution to the combat here.
Hello. Where are you?
He's still alive. There we go.
Let's- I keep having the wrong button. Let's use a spear for you. That seems.
Or bow and arrows.
Yeah, maybe.
Ah!
Oh, they're not very hardy. I expected it to be more of a fight.
No.
Okay. Arrowcuda. Really? Really, Arrowcuda.
Yep.
Hello, cat.
Really.
Alright. Well, let's go heal up. And find Robbie. The names are pretty different from the first game. The shrines in the first game were all like Manhusam and like two-word nonsense names. These seem a lot more let's get some more phonetic terms in here since I have them. They're all very... These seem all very sort of vocalic. Like they have a lot of vowels, they have a lot of liquid and sibilant, whereas the shrine names in the previous game were very... I don't know, they sounded almost like Hindi, but with a Japanese sensibility. Like, Mei Magana was one of the shrines that I remember. And so they had like these characters that were these consonants that were very Japanese, with, you know, like single or very sharp syllables. And this is very different. It's a very different feel to it.
Yeah. I think they've really... I mean, it's interesting because it kind of ties in with...
But it doesn't actually replenish the health. Got it.
No, it gets rid of your gloom problems only. Sorry, I've just had some lag there, so I don't know if I'm back now.
Yes, you seem to be back. Sorry about that.
Okay, great. No, I was just going to say, I think it's interesting. They've obviously like tried to put effort into sort of distinguishing the different cultures and so on. Like it's the same thing they've done with the language, right? There are kind of languages circulating that some people know and some people don't, and it's not just kind of, you know, everything is old in the same way. There's kind of all these different ways of being old and all these different cultures going on.
Yeah, and it's interesting, the scripts, so the sort of ancient Hylian that we got from the 10,000-year-old shrines and the Hylian characters that they use for like modern Hylian, both of those are just ciphers for English letters. You can actually work out what they say, and people have. But I've been told that ancient Hyrulean, the one they use in this game, is not. And nobody's figured it out yet. So that's very interesting. That the further back you go, the more different it is.
That's very cool.
I've discovered the light. It makes me feel like I'm on the surface again. Oh, you're here too. Thanks, Robbie.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Don't know why he didn't wait for us to come with him.
Because he's a jerk. It does look an awful lot like the figure that Josha showed us. Okay, so now I can use the camera. That's nice. And I have my hobby back of filling the confetti.
Yay! I find it really annoying that they put it in the same place as the powers, though, because I keep, like, accidentally hitting the camera when I really am urgently trying to do something, like, in a kind of crisis situation, and I'm like, no, I don't want the camera!
That is a really interesting figure.
Statue with raised arms.
I wouldn't be. I'd need like 8 more angles.
It's fine. I mean, yeah, you kind of... You might go around the other side, I guess, if you were really doing research on it.
I want to go look at this because I want to see what they've done with it. This is an interesting... So this looks almost like water to me, and I don't know if it's meant to be water or roots. But yeah, we do have these very sort of animal-formed legs. Like they're jointed like a horse or a cat. The loincloth is a different style than anything we've seen. They have these very rough abs, very stylized. This almost looks like a sumo garment more than a loincloth. Coming up the belt. But he's not built like a sumo wrestler at all. He does seem to have claws and humanoid arms. No? Maybe? Are his arms actually jointed weirdly like an animal's too?
I think his arms are fairly normal. Well, fairly humanoid, but like the joints are in a slightly different place, maybe? Like his forearm is slightly longer or less long.
Yeah, there's certainly something strange about how that's constructed, but I can't quite tell what. Oh, and he's holding something. Oh, and he has upper garments too. Or,
Yeah. He's got like armor on.
yeah. His face looks a little bit like a Zonai with that protruding snout, but his ears are very not.
Mm.
And then he's holding a rock. Just a rock?
Or an orb? I don't know. A ball?
It does
An
look like
orb?
it's
Rock.
shaped. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
bloom seed?
Could be.
And look, there's another one. Looks exactly the same. Are there more this way? No? Just the two? Maybe there are more beyond it. Let's go find out! Ah, Link, you're so weak.
Poor Link.
It's the third one. Is there any difference in the front? Doesn't look like it. Are they lizardy? Are they dragony? Oh, the carvings are a little bit clearer. This one. How far do these statues go? What are these? Oh.
Mhm.
A bargainer statue, you say? Well, that's the kind of information you do not get in real-world archaeology.
No. No, I like how you collect something and they immediately tell you like what it is and what do you do with it.
Yeah. Alright, so are you a bargainer statue? Huh. Probably can't use them until I've talked to what's-her-face, but... It's so intriguing that they're so close together. I feel like I'm solving a mystery.
No comment.
Okay. I'm at the edge of the dark, so I should probably...
Yeah.
You're still facing this way. Oh.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can avoid those monsters. I really should let you go, though. Like, I want to solve this mystery so bad, I'm not even thinking about it. Whoa.
Yeah.
Selfie.
Okay, so you are facing this way. Ooh, there's roots up there. There's a fungus tree. Well, it led us to another light route? Is that what they're called?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're calling them. I mean,
No, yeah, here it says light route. Okay, well, I'm very excited to find out what the deal is with these statues. But I don't want to keep you up too late. I know it's quite late over in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me for this live stream. It's been a lot of fun.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, love to do this sometime again. And I'm sure I'll see you around. Folks, if you want to follow me, you can, of course, keep watching here, where we'll be doing another live stream of Tears of the Kingdom next week, or you can follow my personal channel at Zillable. Kate, where can folks find you?
I'm still on Twitter for the moment, so you can find me under Kate Cook, or my handle is at CatEx, KATEXE. So find me there, and I'm sporadically on Save Ancient Studies things, so you might see me crop up on those again.
All right, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.